Hello everyone. I have read a comment for the series said what to do against the Dutch, and my first intention was not to deal with these kind of sidelines, but then I changed my mind, and now I wanted to make it a complete repertoire. So after we talked about the Queen's Gambit declined, Slavs, Queen's Gambit accepted, Nimzo Indian, Binoni, Binko, Gronfeld, and King's Indian. This is the episode number 9 in which we will talk about the Dutch. And against Dutch, I am going to recommend a very interesting line, which is very rare, though it's a very interesting choice, which is c3. And it looks to be a very solid passive move, right? But wait a second. Where did I get this inspiration from? For years and years, I knew this game. Like that was my choice as black versus f4. I will go d5, and after knight f6, this is a game, by the way, by Kasparov. We go knight f6, and after e3, bishop g4, and then black found this great idea to push e5 early on. White prevented, so now black cannot go e5. In order to achieve this and to go e5 in one go, he played a fascinating move, c6. The point is to play queen c7 followed by e5 right away, and then I would like to go bishop d6. I don't want to be slow like e6, bishop d6, and then go e5. No. c6, queen c7, and bishop takes f3 first, bishop takes f3, and we go e5. The point is, we have a great development. We are trying to castle long, and then through start a very strong attack on the king side. So for example, the game went on to play d3, and after that bishop d6, now f4 is under fire, g3 trying to keep that diagonal closed, but long castling, and soon we will see h5, h4 by Kasparov exchanging first, and then h5 and h4. Kasparov started the attack, and whenever Kasparov started attacks, normally he delivers. So bishop c5 check, g takes f4 opening the g file, knight takes e5 threatening on g4, check queen d7 seems to be very dangerous choice and very dangerous move, knight b6 attacking, and soon the game went on, or Kasparov went on to win game by a nice checkmate. So whenever you asked me about what to do against the Dutch, actually it was at the beginning a challenge, like what should I recommend? Because Dutch is very, if I will recommend something like a main line, for example, c4, or like g3, probably g3 is the most played move. Now black has choices like e6 maybe, g6 maybe, stonewall is another idea, like what should I do? Then I remembered the Kasparov game, and then I said, okay, why not c3? And here the most played move actually in this position, and even if he did not play it, you can do the same, knight f6. Looks like c3 is a very weird move. Why not to play knight f6 and improving the knight, and we'll see how it goes. By the way, if, for example, if e6, you could go knight f3 followed by bishop g5, as what Kasparov has done, Against g6, it's probably the same. So that's why after knight f6, we will go right away, bishop g5. Our plan, this is what I like. I like to have a general plan. So in case you forget moves, or maybe you study this episode, everything is fine, but the time you face the Dutch was or is a year after. You probably will forget, but then wait a second. The plan is bishop g5, knight d2, queen c2, e4, bishop d3, castling, and start an attack on the king side. See? And this is most of the moves that you will see and you will face. Here, the most played move for black is e6. But I tried to be aggressive and asked myself, what if knight e4, for example? And here, believe it or not, it was a novelty in my database. h4. See, I'm giving you novelties here. See? Okay. So after h4, the point is to protect the bishop. And now if the bishop is taken, it's almost a game over. Like we will take back, the rook will be improved. And for example, after e6 attacking the pawn, we do have f4. Strategical concept. Pay attention. In chess, whenever you give up one of your bishops, put all of your pawns, especially central ones, on the same color as that bishop. Justification. Whenever you give up a bishop, you lose control for certain square or for squares that has the same color as the given bishop. That's why the other pieces that can fight for squares, protecting squares, are pawns. So pawns and bishops are the responsible pieces for defending squares. So that's why f4 a very strategical idea. And now, for example, if bishop e7, knight f3, if black tries to improve his game with b6, then simply we go knight e5, or sorry, e4 first. Looks like losing a pawn. Wait a second, what's this e4? But if he takes, I'll go knight e5, and queen h5 is actually a checkmate. And if knight g6 is another threat, where the rook takes h7. For example, g6, knight takes g6, you cannot take. You will lose your rook. But how to fight against queen h5? You cannot. In case, for example, you forget about the idea of e4. No problem. Again, same. Knight d2, queen c2, e4. Castling along bishop d3 and prepare for g4. The same concept works. Yeah? So, but wait a second. I mean, why don't I get the bishop? So the point of knight e4 is to attack the bishop. Now I cannot take the bishop. What's that? So if h6, for example, not taking the bishop, h6 kicking the bishop away. Now, okay, I'll go bishop f4. And after d6, now knight d2. Knight d2 threatening to double up the pawns. So after knight takes d2 probably is a must. Queen takes d2, knight d7, threatening e5. Yeah? Kind of making use of the bishop being here. But now, long castling, very strong move. The point is, e5 is not working, because after that I could go bishop takes e5, and I will be glad to take your queen. So that's why after castling long, e5 doesn't work. So in order to improve the rest of the pieces, knight f6 has to be played, and maybe knight e4 is coming. Sorry, we're not going to allow this. e6, and now, very aggressive move, e4. I forget, I don't know what to do. Queen c2 and then e4. No problem. e4. The point of this sacrifice is to gain time, to improve pieces. Now queen e2. Attacking, and in the meantime, threatening. If knight f6 trying to stop this, g4. The point is, bishop g2, g5, queen h5 check. And actually, it's strategically sound, because as they said, whenever you are ahead in development, open the position. And here, with g4, g5, we're trying to open the position. What do you mean by opening the position? To exchange more pawns, more files, and more diagonal will be available. Okay, so last question. So that's for knight e4. What if knight e6 if d5? Because see, if e6 now we have the strategical plan, which is the most played move, you know. Again, what's the plan? Knight, queen, e4, castling, attack, yeah? Perfect. So what if d5? There's a problem with d5. And the problem is strategical. Well, bishop takes f6. Ooh. The point is, after e takes f6, you don't like the pawns here. If this pawn is back to f7, it's fine. Like, let me just improve your opening knowledge a bit. Like this one is fine. But you know, the position we got is the same as, like the point is, one of the main ideas for black here is to play f5 followed by knight d7, knight f6, knight e4. See? But the position we got previously, as if black here in this position decided to play f6. How weak is black to play this f6? f6 is a very, very, very bad move. Like, it takes permanently the f6 square from the knight. So it's actually the same structure, isn't it? Like, when you think about it, like, here if d5, bishop takes f6, it's the same structure, right? Same. So what should I do here? First of all, you have to know that your opponent is strategically not happy and weak. And your plan is going to be around c4. After bishop d6, you improve the bishop. Improve the queen threatening. For example, knight e7 defending the pawn. We improve the knights easily. And now h4. Again, we give up a bishop. We put all of our pawns to fight for dark squares. See? Very important strategical idea. And after g6, now you could go g3, by the way. But as long as you're controlling f4 very good, you could start with c4. And now c5 is a threat to win the bishop. And in case of c6, simply c5 followed by b4. And it's more than clear advantage for white. a4 to be coming, b5, g3. And then you could castle short, bring the other rook to the game. And you'll have a huge space advantage and a huge initiative on the queen side. And white is clearly better. So now the rest is the most played move, which is e6. Simply we go knight d2. What's the plan? The plan is e4. And in case of bishop e7, now we simply take bishop takes f6. You take back with the bishop, and now e4. After e4, f takes e4, we take back with the knight, knight takes e4. And now say castling short, I'll go bishop d3. What's the plan? Queen c2, castling and attack. How can black complete the development? Say b6, for example, knight f3. Bishop b7, queen c2. It's almost similar to the Kasparov's game, except that in the Kasparov's game, g6 was played. In that case, it was g3, h5, h4 happened. But now if g6, then h4, h5. Because see, as you can see now, we do have a threat, yeah? That's why h6, for example. But now castling long, yeah? Okay, that's clear, that's interesting. How to continue after that? See, now let me give you another information. If you're playing a game and you reach this position in which you play the kind of automatic moves or the moves that you know, and your knowledge out of the opening is just finished, and you're playing a classical game, yeah? This is called a tactical, or not tactical, critical moment. Sometimes the language betrays me, yeah? It's called critical moment. What do I mean by critical moment? It's a moment in a game where you need to stop and relax and take your time, at least 10 minutes, trying to come up with plans, with ideas, understand the position. If you do that, the amount of your blunders will decrease too much. Why? Because these 10 minutes or these 20 minutes that you spend here thinking about the position will give you much more information that will be helpful during the whole game probably, or at least the next maybe 10 to 20 moves. So after knight c6, the plan that I will give you, and we will finish with that, is this interesting idea, h4. What's the point of h4? Sometimes, which is rarely happened, knight f g5, but the point is simply to go for g4. And g5 is a threat. If the rook is needed, it can happen. Yes, this is a tactical weakness. There might be some discoveries, but it's now all about calculations, like bishop g5, bishop e5, bishop d4, knight d4, bishop h4, knight h4. So there is no good discovery actually here. And g5 is coming, and black is almost losing here in this position. So this is now I know that you know this is not like a move by move repertoire, yeah? And this is actually not the way or the point of me making this repertoire. The point of this repertoire is to give you practical weapons, practical ideas what to do. I don't want you to memorize. I want you to understand. Having understanding will save you even if you forget. But if you memorize, then the chance that you forget is high. But whenever you forgot something, probably you're losing the game. So this is the way I would like you to think about chess, not only in my in the recommended repertoire here, but for example, whatever courses you're studying now or whatever your opening repertoire. By the way, this way of thinking is valid up to maybe 24,500. So don't think that, oh, wait a second, but now I want it to be 2,300. This is for beginners. No, this is not for beginners. Maybe you can add more knowledge, but the way to understand chess and the way to approach openings, because openings are huge, you know, we just for 9 episodes and still more episodes to be coming, we still not finished talking about one line you play with white. So you need something against e4, something against d4, something against c4, something against knight f3, and sometimes you need to add one more actually weapon to your arsenals. So it's a long journey. If you approach it well, then it will serve you well. If you memorize, maybe this year you have too much time to study, but the next year you got busy, you forgot everything, you don't have time to review, you don't have time to repeat. There is no understanding, yeah? I am focusing on the understanding, and this is what I wanted you to focus on. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out the whole series. We have talked about almost everything. Still more, probably 1 or 2 more episodes to be coming about some sidelines, for example, Chigorin or some triangle defense or etc. But in order to keep it or make it kind of as complete as possible. Thanks for watching again. See you in another one. Have a nice day.